Thank you for tuning in to TalkWad.com, the world's fastest growing internet radio network. Please check out all the other great shows on www.talkwad.com.
What if your customers are trying to find your business online, but instead of finding you, they find your competitors? Now, more than ever, it's time to make sure you have the right SEO to make your business stand out online. Welcome to Go Mind Your Business with Terry Bork, presented by Extreme Marketing Concepts, putting your business in front of the hungry herd of buyers who are looking for you right now. Extreme Marketing Concepts, helping you drive more traffic, dominate the market, and crush your competition. And now, here's Terry.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Go Mind Your Business. My name is Terry Bork, and we're here at the Carrollwood studios of the Talkwad Radio Show. Check them out and see all the other programs that they have over at Talkwad. This is the business channel, and again, I'm Terry Bork with Extreme Marketing Concepts. And today, I have an amazing guest with me, Sam Landsman of AR&M of Tampa Bay. Welcome, Sam.
Hi, Terry. Glad to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you. Sam helps businesses get on TV and radio. So we're going to be talking all about the ins and outs of doing that today. And I think that is awesome. So let me tell you a little bit about our guest, Sam, today, and then we'll get into all the good, Sam. All right. So Sam is a New York City kind of guy. He was raised on Long Island and graduated from Roslyn High School. He attended various colleges, including Cornell, SUNY Cortland State College, and Boston University with a major in journalism. And then he continued to do some studies at Northeastern University. After college, he had many jobs before he got into the advertising industry. Sam started his advertising career at a small radio station located between Boston and Providence, Rhode Island. He learned as much as he could, and then he took a similar job in Boston. Within a year, he was employed at a startup independent television station in Boston. His career eventually took him to a brand new TV station in Hartford, Connecticut, and that later became a Fox affiliate. They did Fox programming on Sunday nights and then Saturdays, and ultimately had movies and sports, as did most of the other independent television stations. It was during this time that Sam came up with his best advertising promotion. They carried the Boston Celtic basketball games. And Sam took the premise from his childhood and developed a great contest, Honorary Celtics Ball Boy. The grand prize was very desirable and one that could not be purchased. Being on the court before the game and handing out balls to the players for the pregame warm-ups. And that promotion was very successful, and I bet it was a lot of fun. When Sam lived in Connecticut, he visited the Tampa-St. Pete area and decided what it would be like to live here in good weather and vacationing in the bad. So he secured a position at a local TV station here. And since then, he's represented 2 stations and a radio station in this market. After 25 years of selling advertising, Sam decided to go into business for himself and opened an advertising agency specializing in TV and radio. Again, that company is known as AR&M of Tampa Bay. AR&M stands for Advertising, Representation, and Marketing, all of which he brings to the table for his clients. On a personal side, Sam's been married twice, once in Connecticut and once in Tampa. He has a 14-year-old daughter who is the pride and joy of his life. He currently lives with 2 dogs, 2 gerbils, 2 turtles, and 2 aquariums full of fish. He has a soft side for animals and for his daughter. Sam's an avid golfer. He also plays on a men's softball league, and he gets his winter fixes by taking his daughter skiing once a year. And when he moved to Tampa, he got certified in scuba. And he's dived in Clearwater, the Bahamas, the Keys, and the Cayman Islands. And he plans on diving in Hawaii at the end of next month. So again, Sam, thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here. That's a nice recap of my history.
Yeah, there you go. So, one of the things I think that people are worried about, Sam, is being able to afford to be on television, is it cost prohibitive for most businesses to be there?
Well, that's generally a fallacy that most people think that TV is extremely expensive because they hear things like the Super Bowl commercial, only $3 to $4 million for one commercial. Well, that's international, that's national, that's not even regional and local. Advertising locally can be purchased for as little as $2 or $3 for a commercial if you're buying local cable.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's really not bad at all. Is it expensive to make the commercials?
Well, this all, again, depends on the advertiser's choice of what they like. There is a fear that to make commercials, you're looking at $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 and more. This is all true if you want to go to New York or L.A. or one of the major advertising meccas where you're going to have your commercial produced on film. Locally here, a lot of the commercials are done on videotape or now with the computer workings of it is not even using tape any longer, and commercials can be produced at a much lower cost. Mm-hmm. My business, I try to make it so the smaller business can actually afford to be on TV with the cost of the commercials and also the cost of the production. I generally keep production costs for making a 30-second commercial under $1,000.
Oh, okay. So under $1,000 to have a commercial, and then purchasing TV. Now if you can't get a TV commercial for $3. So I'm assuming that it's a block of TV commercials that you can buy, or how does that work? You know,
actually, you can buy one commercial for $3.
Okay.
I don't
am I
recommend
watching that
it
on television, or am I watching that on some unknown?
This isn't even overnight TV. This is some of the perhaps B-level or C-level networks. Your A-level networks would be an ESPN, a CNN, a USA, a TNT, these cable networks. If you're willing to go to the level of perhaps Discovery Channel, Animal Planet, ESPN2, or some of those other networks, you're looking somewhere between $3 and $6 a commercial if you're buying it with a range of time perhaps from 6 o'clock in the morning to midnight. We're not talking overnights here. We're talking a combination of your day and evening viewership time.
Okay, great. So, when you're looking at buying it, maybe you're looking at what the product is, who the market would appeal to most, and then trying to come up with the best type of placement for the ads?
Well, let's take a step back. When I'm talking to a new advertiser and they want to be on television, first things we need to figure out is who is their target customer. I mean, we need to define it to one or two different types of demographics and have to come up with a somewhat creative commercial that will get their point across in a memorable way. And then we look at what networks and what programs really target the people who are potentially the customer and how can we best reach them. And again, how often do their commercials need to run? Frequency or repetition of advertising is extremely important. I mean, if you're going to run one commercial for $3, yes, you can, but your response will be probably worth the $3 investment.
Okay, yeah, well, the old adage, you get what you pay for, right? If you're just joining us, we are speaking with Sam Landsman of AR&M of Tampa Bay. You can visit his website at armoftampa.com. Or if you have questions about advertising and how it might help your business, give him a call at 813-748-3264. So let's talk about the actual making of the TV commercial, Sam. How do you go about that?
This is actually my favorite part of the business. I first got into the business because I wanted to be a creative, producing, advertising person. I interviewed at every advertising agency in Boston at the time. I wanted to be a copywriter. I figured that's a great place to start out. I wanted to be like Darren of Bewitched.
Okay.
I wanted to have fun. I wanted to be creative. And the agencies all said, "You look great. You sound great. What have you done?" And I'm like, well, I really haven't done much of anything. Mold me, hire me, teach me. I'll do whatever it takes. And they all basically said, when you have experience, come on back. Well, how am I going to get experience? My college roommate's girlfriend was selling radio advertising, and she said, you should sell advertising. I mean, you're very persuasive. I'm like, I don't want to be in sales. I picture myself in a suit and a little briefcase knocking on doors. Like, that's not what I want to do. I want to do creative. And she said, well, I do this. I write the commercials. I go, you write the commercials? This is an opportunity for me to get the experience. And once I started getting experience selling the advertising, I realized that copywriters, especially startup positions, are extremely low on the pay scale. And if you're going to sell the advertising, you get a lot more income from selling it. And one of the benefits to me is not necessarily the income. Of course, we need to make money, but it's the opportunity to be creative and make the commercials. Currently, I'm working with a air conditioning company. And as I'm driving over here this morning, I was thinking about what can I do to make their commercials stand out. And they've got a couple of ideas, which I really don't want to discuss at this point until I really get with the client. But when you make a commercial, especially in television, there are basically 4 things that work. One is sex, one is kids, one is animals, and the other is humor. Well, sex is great, but it puts an image out there which may or may not be something that you really want to live with. Although it's fine to have a very attractive person, male or female, as your spokesperson, which inflicts some sex into it, but not necessarily. And that's maybe a little more forgivable than having a girl in a bikini talking about the air conditioning company, which certainly will catch someone's eye, but then again, it may be a turnoff to some other people. Humor is great, except it's got a short lifespan. When I make commercials for people, I don't want to remake commercials again and again. And when you make a humorous commercial, it's like hearing the same joke over and over. The first time, it's very funny. The second time, yeah, it's pretty good. The third time, you giggle a little bit. But after that, it's like, been there, done it. Doesn't do much for me anymore. The lifespan of this commercial is pretty much spent. Having kids and animals is long-term, and it works extremely well because people always look at commercials that have animals. It attracts their eye, or kids. It's a positive upbeat message in a psychological manner. But these are the things I'm trying to put together to make a good commercial for this person. When I make a commercial for them, I also try and put myself in the position of their customer. Not the advertiser, what he wants it to look like, but what does the customer want to see? What appeals to them? So this is where I try and plot out where the advertising should be and the proper commercial to go with it. A couple of years ago, I worked with a car dealer, and they wanted to make a regular commercial. And I said, this is a regular-looking car commercial we're talking about. What if we do something a little different and put a dog in the commercial? A dog jumping in the car, or a dog sticking his head out the window of the car. It adds something a little more flavor to it. They agreed to do this, and we did make the commercial with a dog. My dog, actually. Trained professional. And the time period that commercial was running was during the month of February. And the month of February in the cable world, the high visibility programs include the Westminster Dog Show. What a coincidence that the commercial ran 3 times a night during the Westminster Dog Show. A car commercial in the dog show with the dog in it is a very attractive way of putting their commercial together.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
It sure does. So a lot of time is spent in getting ready for these commercials for your customers.
Oh, yeah. There's planning it, there's thinking it, there's putting it on paper, there's outlining it, the points that need to be stressed, and how can they be done in 30 seconds.
Okay, great. Is it less expensive to advertise on radio?
This is true and false. It depends on the radio you're looking to advertise on, the time period you're looking to advertise on, and what you're comparing it to with television. To keep oranges and apples together, comparing apples to apples, radio is a broadcast medium, so let's compare it to broadcast television, which is not your cable television, so your local broadcast channels, be they independent stations or the network affiliates. A commercial on prime time on radio between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., those are your prime listening hours on radio, could cost anywhere from $100 to $600, depending on the program and the time slot you're looking at. For the most part, you could probably buy advertising on radio for a given of $150 to $250 per commercial. And if you're going to compare that to broadcast television, broadcast TV has your morning, your daytime, your evening, and your prime time. And then there's the late night. I'm not going to discuss the overnights. Overnights are, the viewership is much lower, the costs are much lower, you're getting what you pay for there. But the cost of advertising on primetime television compared to primetime radio, television is much, much more expensive. Here you're looking at several $100s or thousands of dollars per commercial. Cable, on the other hand, is much less expensive than radio, and it's more geographically targeted. One of the benefits to cable over broadcast is there's less waste coverage. People don't want to pay to reach people who are not their customers.
Okay, I get that. Cool. If I advertise on both, if I advertise on TV or radio, is there any waste of coverage?
There's always waste of coverage. I mean, even with cable, with the zone you're going to be in, maybe your store is only attracting people from, or your business is only attracting people from a 5-mile radius, and you're advertising in the zone, which is half of the county. Well, you get some waste coverage there, but your cost per commercial is so low, and the waste coverage is not as far off as on broadcast when you've got that one location in downtown Tampa, and people are not going to come there from Lakeland. They're not going to come there from Hudson. They're not going to come there from Sarasota. And if you're using the broadcast medium, be it TV or radio, there's a lot of waste coverage there.
Okay, so then why are folks paying for coverage when those people aren't going to even be able to come in and take advantage of whatever the advertisement is for?
Well, let's look at the people who are outside of your direct circle of business as a bonus throw-in. Obviously, if you're going to be advertising furniture and your customer base is coming from a very short distance because perhaps you are Rooms to Go or Haverty's and there are multiple locations, and your trade area really is maybe a 10-mile circle around your store because the next store down covers the next 10 miles. Well, your commercial is running, and someone from Lakeland happens to see your commercial, or someone from 15, 20, 30 miles away sees your commercial, and there's something about it that they like. There's the 80-20 reference where 80% of your business comes from within your local area and 20% comes from without. You're best off advertising within that 80%. But if there is extra bonus areas, we said before, for the waste coverage, those people who may actually come and shop, they're not worth the cost of reaching them.
Okay.
But within your circle of influence, it's much more beneficial to reach them and perhaps use a station that does have waste coverage because the viewership of that program or that station is so concentrated in your area, it makes sense to use it.
Okay, well, that makes complete sense. You know, being in the marketing industry myself, you know, we like to put numbers to everything, you know, and statistical data. So, you know, how do we know who's going to see or hear the commercials on TV or radio?
The exact answer is we don't.
Okay. All right.
There are rating systems with Arbitron and Nielsen. Arbitron is radio, Nielsen is television, which measure approximate audiences.
Okay.
If it's working on a regular basis, then you will see a significant constant of this. This program does reach this kind of people. This many people are viewing it. And if it's fairly regular from rating period to rating period, then you can kind of bank on how many people roughly will be watching it and what demographic they are. Periodically, there are programs that spike the audience, which is a spike of the audience is when suddenly there's a lot more people watching it. For example, let's talk about the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Okay.
Oprah was extremely popular on television. And she decided to start her own cable network, which is the Oprah Winfrey Network. And she expected to have huge results immediately because of her popularity. It didn't start out that way. When you have 24 hours of programming, 7 days a week to fill, it's hard to fill it with Oprah show, repeat. They need more programming, a variety of programming that all fits in the same framework of who would an Oprah Winfrey viewer be. So they try and get programming to reach that group. The network still did not perform as well as she expected. And suddenly she's doing the interview with Lance Armstrong. And it's on the Oprah Winfrey Network. The viewership spiked on that particular program because of the national interest in it. So that causes a spike in the ratings, and therefore it throws off what the actual ratings would be on a regular basis. Although when you've got that many people tuning in to see that interview, that increases the exposure of the network in general, and people are more likely just to tune in, try it, see what else is on at other times. It becomes part of their viewing habit.
Okay. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. When you're advertising on the radio or the TV medium, is a business going to see immediate results?
Usually not, although it depends upon what your message is and how often you're advertising it. For instance, would be if you've got an event this weekend and you're going to have incredibly great offer, huge opportunity, one time only this weekend, you run a lot of commercials in a short period of time advertising why someone should come to your fair, your store, your business, whatever it might be, on this Saturday for this huge event, this sale, this giveaway sale. People will respond immediately to that. Generally, though, most people are not going to respond to some kind of a message for a business that they're not aware of, they don't know of. So it does take a while to build up your response. One of my cable reps has said, and I do tend to agree with her, for regular advertising, that the first 3 months on cable, you're going to hate us. You're throwing your money down a hole. You're not getting the results you're looking for. The next 3 months, you start to warm up a little bit, but after that, you love them. It works. It works extremely well, better than any other advertising medium you've used in the past. But it just takes a while for it to work.
Okay. Yep, I get that. And marketing runs the same way. All marketing seems to run. There's your build-up time, and then there's where people get used to seeing your ads. So I totally get that. Great. So how would you recommend effective radio advertising?
Radio medium is not what it used to be. I mean, 20 years ago, you wanted to hear music, that was the only place you were going to hear it. New songs break on the radio. Nowadays, most of the new music breaks on the internet, does not break on the radio, and fewer people are listening to the radio for music than they had in the past. There's a lot more opportunity with the internet, with iPhones, the cell phones, the personal music recording systems. Cars these days have plug-ins where you can plug your phone right into the radio and listen to what you've tuned in yourself. This takes the place of CDs. This takes the place of cassettes, going back to 8-tracks, records. These things are not in existence the way they used to be. So the listenership on radio also tends to be dropping off. One of the difficulties I always find with a music station is generally they have commercial breaks 3 times an hour, 20 after the hour, 20 of the hour, and 10 of the hour. And those breaks last about 5 minutes of commercial messages and promotional messages. People listen to music radio for the music. Perhaps in morning drive or afternoon drive, the personality is a factor. They want to hear the funny DJ talk about a little ditty, whatever he's talking about between the songs. But for the most part, they want to hear the music, especially during the daytime. So when a commercial comes on, they're less likely really to tune into it. And there are buttons on the radio for 3 other stations that carry very similar music, so they're very apt to switch those buttons. This is only if they are listening to the radio. There is a difference between hearing and listening.
Right.
Hearing is, the radio is basically a background noise. It's a station that plays music you like, the sound you like, but you're not really listening to it. You're concentrating while you're driving. Most people listen to the radio in the car than anywhere else. So this is where you have to target them. And their concentration really is on the driving, not on what they're hearing on the radio. So they hear it, they don't listen to it. Therefore, on music radio, which does work to reach people, you really need to advertise a lot more often. You need a lot more repetition. So the commercial is a little more subliminal that people will hear it and not realize they'll hear it, but the message will come through to them. Another form of radio, which is a little more advantageous to the advertiser, is talk radio, be it sports talk or news information talk or political talk. For instance, you're listening to Rush Limbaugh, and you enjoy the conversation of what's going on. You're paying attention to it because it's foreground. You're not hearing it. You're really listening to it. Otherwise, it's just blah, blah, blah in your ear. You have no idea what's going on. But usually with talk radio, people are actively listening to it. And when a commercial comes on, they don't have 2 or 3 other stations playing, oh, the Rush Limbaugh show. Oh, I'll switch stations to the other station. This is the only station that's carrying it. They're interested in the conversation. They will listen through the commercials to get back to the conversation of what was going on. So talk radio is a more advantageous place to advertise. You need less commercials because people are actually listening to them.
Mm-hmm. So if that's a more effective radio place to advertise, is the advertising cost going to be different on a talk show than it is going to be on just, the radio station that your favorite FM channel or AM channel?
Interestingly enough, the talk radio tends to be less expensive than music radio.
Why is it only because it's that specific show? If I call you up and say, you know what, I need to get my commercial on the Rush Limbaugh show at this time on this day, you can set that up?
Oh, I can easily set that up as long as there's available inventory to purchase.
Okay.
If it's sold out, either you can't be on it or you have to really pay through the nose to get there because you're going to preempt someone else.
Got it.
Music radio is more popular in the total number of listeners than talk radio is. And the advertising is really based upon the number of ears or the number of people who are going to be exposed to your commercial.
Okay.
So the more people they are, the more expensive it is.
Okay. But there could be benefits for each medium.
Oh,
Definitely.
without a doubt.
I got that. You are listening to Go Mind Your Business on the All Your Business radio show, and we are speaking with Sam Landsman of AR&M of Tampa Bay Incorporated. If you have questions about advertising, visit his website at armoftampa.com or give him a call at 813-748-3264. We're going to be right back after a quick commercial from our sponsor, Extreme Marketing Concepts.
The West Central coast of Florida has an amazing music scene. Festivals, clubs, special performances, and there's always a lot of live music. The problem has always been getting the word out about events. Then GoTonight.com emerged on the scene. The brainstorm creation of founder Don McKeon, a Sarasota entrepreneur. We caught up with Don and his inspirational friend, Frank Papa, at the Flying Dog Cafe.
This is Frank. I'm Don. Frank is the reason that there is a GoTonight.com. He would call me repeatedly. Where are we going? Where do you want to go? Where will we go tonight?
The website has been a boon to many small clubs. So next time you find yourself asking, where will we go tonight? You've got the answer.
Ask me about positioning commercials.
The web-
And we're back to Go Mind Your Business here on the All Your Business Radio Show. My name is Terry Bork, and my very special guest again is Sam Landsman. Extreme Marketing Concepts wants you to know that businesses usually have one of two problems. The first one is they have a great reputation and nobody knows about it, or they have a terrible reputation and everybody knows about it. Extreme Marketing Concepts can help you with either one of those situations. Just give them a call at 813-863-1452. Speaking of advertising, we're sitting with Sam Landsman today of AR&M of Tampa Bay. You can reach him at 813-748-3264. So, Sam, what is top of mind awareness?
Well, we haven't really got into what top of mind awareness is about. One of the reasons people advertise is so people will think of them and their product before they make their purchase. For instance, you want to go for a fast food. You're thinking about a burger. The first thing that comes to your mind generally would be
McDonald's.
McDonald's is one of the top advertisers. A secondary would be perhaps a Burger King or a Taco Bell. But you don't hear too much about the lesser or smaller fast food businesses. They're out there. They're doing very well, but they don't compete with the kings, as in Burger King or McDonald's. This is more of a top-of-mind awareness. The advertising is there, so you're thinking about it. It's on the top of your mind. One of the ways that radio works extremely well is you're in your car and you're on your way shopping or you're on your way to get something to eat, and the commercial comes on and it clicks with you immediately like, oh, McDonald's has a McDonald's is McDonald's. Everyone knows what McDonald's is. But today, McDonald's has a special, buy one, get one free. You're driving down the street, the archways are there. Let's buy one and get one free. Mm-hmm. So top-of-mind awareness makes you think of the product before you're going to make the purchase, and radio tells you about it right before you make the purchase.
Okay, so some of those ads are strategically placed at specific times so that you can, oh, it's almost lunchtime. Let's get that on at 10 minutes before the hour is up so that folks can go for lunch.
Very true. In fact, there's a pizza place called Hungry Howie's. Mm-hmm. It's a chain with multiple locations, and they would advertise only on Wednesdays on radio because Wednesdays is Hungry Howie's Day, right, where you get a special pizza for $3.99. Mm-hmm. But that's only on Wednesdays. So they advertise strictly on Wednesdays. Like, today, get your pizza. Today's the special day.
Okay, well, that makes terrific sense to me.
Yeah, commercial placement is very important, and the timing of it also. I mean, some of my advertisers that I work with are more of a business-to-business advertising, and we try and run their advertising early in the week, a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, when people are thinking more business-wise. When it's getting to a shopping commercial or a leisure commercial, there we advertise on a Wednesday, Thursday, and perhaps Friday or Saturday because people are more likely to do that business or that leisure planning or going to a Renaissance festival on the weekend. If you tell them about it on Monday and Tuesday, by come Thursday and Friday, they've already forgotten about it.
Sure. Okay. Is there a better medium, TV or radio, to advertise?
Both of them definitely have their strong points, although it's my personal belief that television is much more effective. Radio is basically two-dimensional. You hear the voice, and you hear either the background sound effects or music, which sweeten the commercial. It's called sweetening the commercial after they produce it with the audio. Whereas television, you've got that, plus you have the visual, that you're seeing something. There are graphics on the screen, so you're reading it, you're more involved with it. So television is much more effective than radio in that means. Plus, with television, there's a glamour to it, unlike radio. People are very surprised. They go, you could put me on TV? I can be on TV? Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, you can be on TV. But is that what your commercial really needs? A lot of times when I produce commercials for businesses, they want to have their whole family in the commercial. And, well, it's nice to have the wife, the kids, or the husband and the kids, or the grandchildren. But will that effectively help sell your product?
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So, you want to definitely make sure that you're targeting right for your industry.
Right. I mean, the air conditioning company that I'm talking with that I'm making the commercial for in the next week or so, one of the points that we want to stress with them is multi-generational, that this business has been in the community for 20, 30 plus years. They're not going anywhere. Some businesses or some kinds of businesses have a one-man operation, which is could be considered a fly-by-night. It's like, oh, well, they sold me the air conditioner, and 2 years later, they're gone. I need service. Who do I call? So this particular commercial, it does make sense to show the family.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're able to sit down basically with the client and say, you know what, this could work well in this type of a situation, or come up with other types of situations that could be effective for some of your clients.
Could you be a little more specific?
Sure. I know that you've done commercials maybe for clients. Maybe their English isn't so good, so you're not using that client maybe in that commercial.
I know who you're talking about. There is a commercial that I've done for a international person. He's not an American. He has a heavy accent, and he's looking for people to use his services. Mm-hmm. But would I trust someone who's not from this country to be dealing with something that deals with this country? I don't want to go into specifics of who this is.
Sure.
So on his particular commercial, I used his last name, which sounds Anglican or American English, not international or Asian or foreign. And we used his last name, and we did not show his face on the commercial and any inflection about who he is. But instead, we talked about what his business can do and the services it can do. And we used a testimonial. A testimonial is a very effective form of advertising where you have a previous customer who's saying that I went to this person, they did my business, and they did great for me. I recommend them for you.
Great. Okay. So, and that's very effective advertising in any medium using a testimonial. And so that was a brilliant commercial, brilliantly done. I know that you guys created that, and then you actually you helped him select time to air his commercial on television, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. So how do you go? You have this commercial that you've made. Now, how do we go about getting it to the commercial, to the studio, so that they can show your commercial on the air, and how does that all kind of work?
Well, first, before we actually make the commercial, again, getting back to what we spoke about earlier, we need to define who the customer is, what demographic they're looking at, and making the commercial and placing the commercial on the correct programming or networks go hand in hand.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to make a commercial for people with hearing aids and run it on MTV.
Right.
It will not work.
Right.
If you listen to MTV long enough, you'll need hearing aids.
I got it.
But in this case, first we will produce the commercial. We will bring creative people in if need be. Mm-hmm. And I work with some freelance people who do creative, and I have freelance producers who shoot and edit the commercials. And I work with freelance people. I've done work with them for a number of years. I know I can get them to work quickly and efficiently and not overcharge.
Okay.
I know instances where commercials were charged several $1,000s and realistically only took a few $100s to actually make. So there is too much price being put onto the customer where it would be better off running commercial time for it to get them the results. Once the commercial is produced, the commercial is sent electronically through the internet to the either television station or the cable company.
Okay.
And then they send it to their traffic department, which feeds it into the system through their computer system. So it'll run at the proper scheduled times on the proper networks that we've chosen, selected, paid for, and scheduled.
Okay, great. So if somebody buys a block of time, what does that mean?
Buying a block of time perhaps would be in the sense that, okay, I'm going to be buying a half hour.
Okay.
So I'm going to be having a half hour of programming that I need to supply. This is inside known as an infomercial. And you're basically putting together a half hour program on that block of time.
Okay.
Sometimes when they buy a block of time, they own the whole block of time, so they insert their own commercials into it, and they send a finished piece of the half hour to the television or cable company or a radio station, for that matter, to run at the scheduled time.
Okay, great. If somebody comes to you and they're interested in doing commercials, or they have commercials on TV, and they tell you that I was told I was paying the lowest rate, can you do anything with that customer maybe to get them a better rate if they're paying the lowest rate?
If they're paying the lowest rate, and it is the lowest rate, that's the lowest rate.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can't get any lower than lowest.
Okay.
Although sometimes they are informed that it's the lowest rate.
Uh-huh.
And it may not actually be the lowest rate. Mm-hmm. I do not guarantee my clients that I get them the lowest rate. I often do. I try to. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't always happen that way. I mean, one instance was one of my reps at one of the television stations one day told me, she goes, you have the lowest rates on my station. And I said, I appreciate that. I thank you for giving me those rates. To which she said, not all of your commercials are going to air because some of them get preempted because your rates are so low. And I said, if my commercials are not getting preempted, then I'm not paying the lowest rate. So if you're preempting my commercials, this works out well as long as not a huge percentage are being preempted. And those that do get bumped are made good in other time periods, often more expensive ones than I originally purchased because they're not sold out. It's similar to if you're flying in a plane and the plane is overbooked and, well, we're bumping you from this flight for whatever reason. Either you volunteered or you got there a little late. But what they do to accommodate you is they try and put you on the next flight. And the regular coach seating is sold out. But what a coincidence. There's an open seat in first class. Mm-hmm. They don't care what class they're putting you in. They're just putting you on that next flight. So you've actually been upgraded to a first class position when you're buying a coach seat.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I know like a lot of businesses want to advertise during a series, a baseball season, a football season, a hockey season. Is that advantageous to a business to be in that place, or could there be better placement for them?
Well, it depends on who they're looking for. Sports is a very well-viewed area depending on who you're looking for. I'm going to be the ugly American and say soccer is not a great place to advertise. Granted, people from all over the world except the United States love the sport of soccer, known as football, outside of the United States. But when you're watching it on television, there are no breaks in the action. You can run commercials before the game starts, then the game starts, and there are no commercial breaks. You get the full half on television, uninterrupted. And then at halftime, you have commercials. And then the second half runs like the first half without commercials, and you can have commercials after the fact. Being the ugly American who's used to watching baseball, football, hockey, basketball, there are constant breaks in the action during the game where commercials fit in. So to me, these are better places to advertise. One of the key points about advertising on live sports is if someone wants to watch that game, that's the only place they can see it. So advertising on sports is a very strong place to advertise. No wonder the Super Bowl gets as much per commercial. But then again, it is the most dominant program of the year. But sometimes some of the other sports, for instance, here in Tampa, you've got the Tampa Bay Rays baseball. The Rays baseball is an interesting scenario because they've got a tremendous problem with lack of audience at the games. Coincidentally, they've got one of the highest viewership on the television. People don't necessarily want to go to the games, but they want to watch the games. Where they'll have 12 to 15,000 people in the stands, they'll have 100,000 people watching the game on television.
Okay.
And with the baseball games in particular, people are not likely to DVR or record the games to watch later because the next day there's a whole nother game. So they're watching them live, and your commercial is well placed there because people are fans of the team and they follow it and they watch not necessarily all of the games, but in a given week, if there are 5 games being televised, they may watch 2 or 3 of them at least. In that case, if you're advertising in every game, your commercial is getting a great repetition because it's being seen 2 or 3 times a week. For advertising to work, it needs to have multiple exposures. People really need to see your commercial 3, 4, or 5 times before they're likely to react to it. There are very few instances where memorable commercials work on a first-time basis. During the Super Bowl years ago, there was a commercial for Apple. It was a 60-second commercial. It ran one time only. But the next day, Apple went through the roof with their sales and the response to that commercial. A similar scenario would be perhaps a very memorable commercial that really put Wendy's on the map. Mm-hmm. What's Clara's last name? Clara was an old lady, and she goes in and goes, "Where's the beef?"
Right, I remember her. The Wendy's girl. Yeah.
Where's the beef?
Where's the beef?
That became just the where's the beef became almost a trademark. When people said that, they thought of Wendy's. Mm-hmm. That commercial had instant response.
Uh-huh. It was funny every time, too. It wasn't like it was funny the first time. It was always funny.
I believe her name is Clara Peller.
Okay, I remember. Gosh, took me way back there, Sam.
Some commercials are memorable that way.
Uh-huh. I got that. Okay. So really, radio advertising, it really doesn't matter. It just getting your company out there, hearing that repetition so that you maybe bring some top of mind awareness to you. People are going to say, "Oh, I need this product," and then they're going to remember maybe a commercial or see a commercial that makes them remember you. So, just getting out
memorable there. Advertising is very good. If the commercial is a terrible commercial, people remember because it's so bad.
Right. Okay.
I mean, that works as well. Occasionally, I find there's a major problem when people are advertising or companies are advertising and their commercial is just so creative that I don't know what the product is.
Right.
Nike runs commercials these days, and it's a great-looking sporting commercial of some sort, and I have no idea what they're advertising. At the end, there's a swoosh, which is the Nike logo. But the commercial is not memorable to me for the swoosh. It's for what the product is. Same with some of the beer commercials. You've got the Clydesdales. Okay, people recognize the Clydesdales for being with Budweiser. But Miller had a commercial similar to theirs at the same time. And after a while, it's like, it's a beer commercial. I don't remember what beer it is, but it's a great-looking commercial. Uh-huh. These commercials are effective because they're memorable, because they're so good, but you don't have a clue what they're advertising.
Got it. Okay. So effective advertising deserves someone like you who can get them in, make sure the ad makes sense, make sure they're being specific in what they're asking for and looking for, and then having them properly placed within your budget on TV or radio or whatever advertising medium to best promote that business.
This is true. I do say to some of my clients, I said, look, I'm going to make you a really good commercial. We're not looking to win any awards with this. It's not going to be a phenomenal looking commercial. It's going to be an effective commercial. It's going to be a good commercial, and it's going to work, and it's affordable.
Got it.
One of my philosophies in the advertising business, when I used to sell advertising, the management I worked for was never very happy with my philosophy, which was to get the client the most commercials for their dollar. Management's philosophy is always get the most dollar for the commercial. Where I found if there was a commercial that was selling for $400 and the advertiser wanted to be on the following week, and I looked at the inventory and realized I could clear 2 commercials for $400, that $200 would clear, I would sell them 2 commercials for the $400 instead of 1. And therefore, they're getting twice the opportunity for getting results. Mm-hmm. I like to keep my advertisers, my clients happy, and they're more likely to renew and come back. And that's one of the key factors for advertising sales business is once you get a new client, you don't want to constantly churn and keep having to find new clients. You want the residual business. You want it to continue. And the only way it's going to happen is if the advertiser is happy with you and happy with the results they're getting at the cost they're paying.
I got that. Terrific. Is there anything else maybe that we didn't cover that you'd like to discuss today? Well, I'm sure we could be here all day. But
open topic there. Let's try and keep it on topic with the TV and radio advertising and other means of advertising. My business specializes in TV and radio advertising because that's what my background's been for 25 years, working in TV and radio sales in Boston, in Connecticut, and here in Tampa. But what else can I tell you about the business? People often ask me, could you help me with outdoor billboard advertising or newspaper or print advertising? The cost of doing such would be less expensive for them if I did not help them. as in placing the advertising. What I will do for them is tell them, if you want me to do it, I'm going to have to charge you a fee on top of this. With radio and television advertising, I virtually work for the clients for free. Whatever the advertising cost to them is what the cost is. I get paid by the media to bring the media the advertising. So basically, I'm sort of a salesperson for the media. That's the way they look upon it, paying me a commission. Whereas newspaper, outdoor, and other forms of advertising do not do such. So for me to work with the clients to doing that, I would have to mark it up for my time and effort. So what I do to them, or what I do for them, is recommend that they do it themselves. I'll take the effort and get them the phone numbers, the contacts, and perhaps sit in on the meeting with them with the advertising company, but let them handle placing it and taking care of it all themselves, saving them money.
Got it.
I try and build a good rapport and a reputation with my advertisers to perhaps be their go-to person and trying saving them money.
I got that. Okay, great. Well, I know that a lot of your customers that I've spoken to are extremely happy, and the commercials that you have produced that I've seen are wonderful and very effective in your medium. I do want to thank you for spending time with us today. Again, we've been speaking with Sam Landsman of AR&M of Tampa Bay Incorporated. If you have any questions for Sam, he's happy to assist you with whatever your questions could be. And you can reach him at 813-748-3264. You can also visit his website at armoftampa.com. You've been listening to Go Mind Your Business here on the All Your Business Network down at the Talkwad Studios. It's been my great pleasure to be with you today. Be with us next time. And until then, go mind your business. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Go Mind Your Business with Terry Bork, presented by Extreme Marketing Concepts. If you want to drive more traffic, dominate the market, and crush your competition, find out how by visiting our website, www.extrememarketingconcepts.com. And join Terry next time for another episode of Go Mind Your Business.